Okay, hello again, and we're gonna do, well, mission 3, but sort of mission 2 of Fear the Bones. So yeah, we'll be flying on BRC, 300 knots, 500 feet, to 7 miles, button 3 to Texaco, deck end 74 X-way. Okay, it should be about an hour long mission. That should be right. So, 3 AIM-9s, 2 AIM-7s. I think they might have got that backwards. We'll see. So we got another one of these, your flight's delayed to start. Probably just to let the carrier load in, I'm guessing. Okay, quite close to some S3s.
Gentlemen, take your seats. By now, I'm sure you've all heard why we're heading east on the Black Sea instead of our scheduled port call in Athens. The USS Valley Forge had an accident 40 miles off the coast of the Soviet Union. Official reports say she collided with a Russian fishing boat, but the truth is probably something else entirely. Anyhow, as you can see on these aerial photos, she's smoking badly, and our fellow sailors need our help. Today at dawn, we are sending up our first patrol over the damaged ship. Pontiac 1, consisting of 2 F-14 Tomcats, launch at 0650, rejoin with Texaco to refuel, then push to the cruiser and establish a cap at Angels 2-2. We already have Hawkeye up, call sign Magic, to keep you updated on the situation. Jaws, Jester, your section lead. Ghost and Pyro are -2. You'll be relieved by Pontiac 2 at 0800. ROE is warning yellow, weapons hold. Any questions? Alright, dismissed.
Closing canopy. Check.
So it looks like. What are they doing there? Hornets? Blech. Yeah, mighty Tomcats up front. Some S3s next to us. Another Tomcat, couple of Hornets. No one likes the Hornets, but anyway. Guess we got to deal with them. Left engine's just coming up now. So departure and flight, we'll find these. Departure is 7. So let's get you set to channel 7.
Gotcha.
And ILS is apparently different, so we'll change over to channel 5. Tanker will be on 74 X-ray air-to-air.
Takeoff checklist, brakes.
So it's a bit inconvenient that we have to go back to page 1 every time we want to close it, but I'm guessing there's good reason for it. And indeed our loadout is correct, we're carrying an odd one, 3 winders, 2 sparrows, and single phoenix. So now we're just waiting for Jester. So should be a fun mission, although I'm not massively looking forward to where they were refueling the cat. We can deal with it, I guess.
Ready to taxi.
Park, brake off, nose wheel steering on. I think we'll taxi to the same cat that we did before. Or not, because 2 wants to cut us off. Hope 2 doesn't try and go cat 2. That won't end well. Nail us down. Get the wings out. Wings out, flaps down.
Check okay, keep the weight pressure up. Fuel, normal feed, auto transfer, dump off, feed tanks full, bingo set. Canopy down, lights out. Lights out up here. Seat arms, top and bottom, command eject aft. Time arm, top and bottom, showing MCO in the window. SAS. All circuit breakers set. All minor set. Master test. On. By die. Normal. Compass. Compass sync. Standby gyro erect. Wings. 20 degrees. Auto. Both lights out. Flaps and slats. Control down.
So just going through the checklist.
Spoilers and anti-skid. Spoiler module on, spoiler brake off. Trim. Set. Harness locked. Lights locked. Controls. Here comes the wipeout. Left. Right. Forward. Feels good.
Looks like
All
the 2
warning and
skipped
caution lights out.
It's okay.
Line are out. Ready to go? Ready.
So, salute and get out of here. So we've been told maintain.
Good shot, good shot.
201, Courage Marshall, H3 recovery, CV1 approach, expect final bearing, 62, altimeter is 290, P, 201, hold mothers, 242, radio, 22, DME Angels, 7, expect approach time is 00.
Thanks.
201, Marshall on 242, 22, DME, Angels, 7. Expected approach time is 00.
201. Read that correct.
We're not landing, so, you know, say whatever you want to say. We're a little fast and a little high. It's okay, we can sort of cheat. It doesn't have to be perfect. We've got to wait till we're 7 miles out, so it'll be a couple of minutes, or a minute or something. Meanwhile, we're going to go cruise mode. Okay, I'm going to say that's close enough. Let's go up and hit the tanker. Hopefully, maybe.
John, if you want to get our asses kicked, keep flying BRC and stay below 500 feet until we're outside 7 miles. Pontiac 1, you're leaving my airspace. Clear direct Texaco contact, uniform channel 3. Pontiac 1 copy is pushing to tanker, uniform channel 3 set. Copy.
Well, that was interesting. Got yelled at two contradicting things at the same time. Where's 2, I wonder? Flight. Region.
Flight, join up.
Okay, so 2 is actually coming up just behind the wings there, apparently. Doesn't want to listen to me, but, you know, whatever. So now we're just following the tack and needle 74 X-ray Edaware. And we've been told 15,000 feet. So 30 miles out, I don't know. Looks like it's a pretty morning in game, and it's been a reasonable afternoon. So we'll just keep it on coming up. Hang on a second. Getting the feeling this kneeboard, this tanker is not where we're not on this tack end. So, apologies about the flashing lights. Tanker 74 X-ray Edaware. 74 X-ray Edaware. Pilot command. Let's try telling Jester to set it.
Yep.
Apparently it's right. Tanker's somehow gaining on us. Oh, yeah, increasing distance on us. We'll cheat a bit, I guess. Tanker is up there. Okay, so apparently they're right. The tanker's just going very fast, especially for that style of tanker. Then again, a Hornet tanker wouldn't be all that much faster, so... Drop down from Angels 20 for a bit. Guess we don't need... Actually, I'd rather... So I'm going to leave the TID up so I can see when we eventually get radar contact on the tanker. Yeah, the Tomcat altitude hold is autopilot's a little bit buggy sometimes, unfortunately, so turn the altitude hold off. And back on and enable it. There we go, okay. So we'll get just to set up waypoint 2.
You got it. Switching to steer point 2.
Oh, that'll be the tanker there. On radar.
There's a friendly 3-ship, Bra, 030, 24 miles, Angels 22.
Really, just a 3-ship? I don't see no 3-ship. Here we go, we're closing on the tanker now, which makes sense. I wonder where 2 is. 2's apparently in a bit of a trail. I don't know why 2's there, but he is, so... Oh, I think I got visual on the tanker. Pretty sure it's that little dot there, just to the top left of my cursor, in that circle. I don't know if you can see it on stream, but it's okay. So it looks like the tanker's dead on waypoint 1, which is exactly where they said they would be at. Now, oops, I must have forgotten to change this. So we'll set it back to that, just so we hopefully don't break the mission any more than we may have already. So I'm just going to try and make a rendezvous with the tanker. They're obviously heading over towards the right, towards the south, because that's how our the bearing needle of the tack end's moved.
Roger.
Get Jester to lock
He's
up.
locked. Target 12 miles. We locked a buddy.
Yes, Jester, I know we locked a buddy. That's the idea. I'm trying to get all this information. So, we've got range, scale of 20 nautical miles, and they're at that range. Closing velocity, 1000 knots, minus 200 knots, 0 knots. So we're closing at about 200 knots.
Switching to PSTT. We locked a buddy.
Yes, Jester. Thanks. Thanks.
Target 10 miles.
So that's definitely the S3. Yeah, in case anyone didn't know by now. So we're going to start slowing our closure velocity down. We'll still have to maintain a relatively high velocity, but we don't want to be closing as fast. And we only use this for the rendezvous, we don't use this for tanking. Once we get close to actually tanking, then we'll probably switch back to cruise mode on the HUD. And we do still have to contact him, but we've been told not to by the thingy, the scripting. We'll see how tanking goes. I'm not the greatest at it, but it's okay.
Target 5 miles.
So that image you're seeing there is the TCS, the television camera set. It's the pod under the chin of the aircraft. It's essentially a long-range camera that we can use for visually identifying
Target 2 miles.
Aircraft or anything. We can actually use it in bombing mode to see what we're about to drop a bomb on. Apparently the scripting will do the contacting automatically, which would be nice, not having to muck around with the buttons. Okay, so I'm going to come back to cruise mode. Going to get our probe out. Going to get the TACAN line off the HUD. So we've been told to form up on the left wing, which always end up doing this, coming in too fast.
I lost lock.
Thanks, Jester. He's really helpful sometimes. I'd say that's formed up left wing.
Mexico, this is Pontiac 1. You got 2 thirsty Tomcats. What do you got?
We're not that thirsty, really.
I've got the hard stuff. Pour right in. Fill up, check the oil, and clean the windshield. Over. You got it.
Okay, so we're gonna get a tanker.
Texaco 1-1, Pontiac 1-1, request rejoin.
I think that was the wrong
Texaco
radio.
1-1, Pontiac 1-1, request rejoin. Pontiac 1-1, Texaco. Ready, pre-contact. Return pre-contact.
apparently not good enough for him.
Ready, pre-contact. Cleared contact.
So now it's our job to get the probe into the drogue. Probe in the basket. And unfortunately my
Little left.
stick has a little bit of wobble. So this is not exactly the easiest of feats.
Little left.
No, don't look at the basket. We want to get a sight picture on the tanker itself.
There's a friendly Hawkeye, 6 o'clock. 8 miles. Just a bit to the right.
Yeah, just at the... As you can see, DCS doesn't quite model collision physics.
Little right.
Return pre-contact.
Oh, fussy aren't you? Oh, now you're speeding up on me. That's what you're doing. It's not uncommon for me to spend a fair bit of fuel just to get a little bit of fuel. So if we get to 1600, I'm just going to give up and...
Little left. Just a bit to the left.
We're going to tell Jester to be quiet. Sometimes it's helpful. Most of the time, Jester's refueling is callouts are just annoying and come at the worst possible moments. But I can do this. Be interesting to see if we ever get like a autopilot for refueling. Uses some sort of cameras and stuff to position the plane for you. Just get up somewhere near the tanker and hit refuel me. Yes, I can see the probe in the drogue inside my cockpit. DCS is bugged sometimes. Be terrible if someone joined now and started trying to chat to me or made a notification pop up. I'll give it one more pass. One more go. I got this. So this is what I was talking about last episode, having to do this at night with no fuel remaining would have been terrible.
Texas Go, Pontiac 1 flight. Thanks for passing us some gas. See you on deck.
Yeah, sure, passing us gas.
Abort rejoin.
2, push 2, waypoint 2, button 2. Go. Channel 2 set. Pontiac 2. Flight 2 times F14, checking in at Bulls 25760, Angels 15. Pontiac 1, flight radar contact, bullseye same, picture clean, climb to Angels 22, push to waypoint 2. Magic Pontiac 1 flight copies all, departing 15 for Angels 22.
So it looks like 808 refueling practice is something I probably should do at some point. But for now, we're just going to, well, do as we're being told, climb Angels 22.
Here we go. Operation Babysitter's underway.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Ghost, what do you mean by that? Well, those damn sailors on the Valley Forge were too drunk to notice that fishing boat, and now they're skirting so away. We gotta be up here looking after them instead of that port calling Athens, chasing those hot Greek chicks. Why couldn't they send someone else? I wouldn't be so sure about it. That's the Russian version of the story, but I've heard the Valley Forge may have been torpedoed by a Soviet sub.
Oh.
Shit, really? What's wrong with these commies? I hope the situation doesn't escalate.
Doesn't escalate? That's why we're here.
Man, relax. It's 1989. Nobody wants a fucking war.
So I've just blown through Angels 22, so we're just descending down to it now. And I'm going to bring the throttle back, conserve a little bit of fuel, because we did not pick up the fuel that we were supposed to. So we can see altitude here in hundreds of feet, 227, or Angels is these black numbers, like 22 and then 0.7, 0.75 really. So we'll just drop it down to close enough to 22.0 that they'll be happy with us.
Pontiac 1's magic. We've got a contact inbound, low and slow. Hold 070 for 25. We need you to visually identify the bogey. Weapons hold. Buster. Magic Pontiac 1, roger. Turning nose on. Weapons hold.
So
Contact setting 068.90.
068 for 90.
Contact setting 068.90.
So actually, if we go 200 miles, it should be about halfway down. We don't want those guys up there. Where is 2, I wonder? There's 2. So, we're just waiting for Jester to pick up any sort of contacts out here. 2's picked them up. and Magic, which is the AWACS, the big radar plane. Let's see if we can... that one. Picked it up. Now we did actually see what those contacts were, helicopters. I was not surprised to see choppers because low and slow. So let's scan altitude at 100 miles. Scan quite low. So that's just getting in focus lower. We'll set our range to 100 miles. So if we had a human Rio, this would go a lot easier because they can use more of the radar modes. We'd pick him up in pulse, possibly pulse Doppler or something. Main lobe clutter out, and would pick him up in not long. But Jester is kind of stupid sometimes. So we'll just have to await and see. So yeah, we're quite fast really, which is fine. Let's come back on the throttle, we probably don't need to be quite this fast. Let's see. So yeah, my schedule of streaming is going to be a bit odd. Some days I'll be able to do 2 or 3 streams, other days I won't be able to do many, or any. So, let's see. So yeah, that's the stricken ship. Still haven't got any radar contact. Let's see if we can get Magic to give us.
Magic 1-1, Pontiac 1-1, request Bogey dope. Pontiac 1-1, Magic 1-1, clean.
Okay. So you'll hear that that's a different voice because that's the in-game stuff. And so we're sort of using a mix of in-game stuff and the... what am I thinking? The scripted stuff that this mission contains. So it looks like that smoke cloud's the ship. Let's set this to automatic. So the reason we're down low, even though we've been told to be up high.
There it is. Development 4, dead ahead. One, visual.
So yeah, we're a bit lower because they told us to go and intercept things that are low. And the radar is a lot better at picking up things above it than below it. With Jester, certainly. Don't know why they're doing that. So We'll see him soonish. See if we can spot him visually. So that's the stricken ship. So I'm looking visually for these bogies. Doing a bit of a barrel roll over the top. Getting nothing. Been told they're out here. So if we get to say here, if we get to 100
miles. I've got him.
No, I don't. Press spacebar when you visually identify the bogey. I don't even have them on radar yet. Oh, got him. Visual. So I'm going to get them radar locked. They're MI8s.
We've got two MI8s low over the water. They're headed straight for the Valley Forge. Pontiac 1, copy that. Request you make a high-speed pass. Get as close as you can. Let them know you're there. Weapons hold. Pontiac 1, Wilco.
High-speed pass, nice and close. Let them know that we're here. Will do. So obviously we're going to have some fun with this. Full burner. Meow. Come out of burner and just save the gas. And then, you know, we're going quite fast, doing 450 knots.
There you go. That woke him up.
Yeah, it'll wake him up. Just exceed the Tomcat airframe G limit, why not? Do another passing at him. Meow. So now we'll probably just be told to hold here unless they start doing something.
Magic Pontiac 1, helos are bugging out north. Copy that, Pontiac 1. Reset cap at waypoint 2. Report when on station.
Okay.
Pontiac 1.
So we're going to bring it up bring it on up to Angels 22, because that's where we've been told our cap station is, and just make a couple of big circles here till they tell us to do something else. But this is probably how this mission will go. To a couple of rendezvous and intercepts. Hopefully we get to use some of our ordnance, but who knows. I guess in terms of the campaign, hopefully we don't, because that will probably start a war with Russia. But you know, all-out war with Russia means we get to have fun shooting bears and blackjacks and everything down. We'll see. So yeah, that intercept was not great. However, I console myself with if we'd had an actual Rio, the Rio would have been watching the radar, and I would have had eyes out instead of me trying to do both.
Negative words at this time. Anchor at waypoint 2 and we'll keep you updated. Over. 20-1.
So I've been told to just stay here for a bit. So I'll keep it coming on up to Angels 22, which we should have been at before checking in, but that's alright. We cheated a little. We'll slow it down a little bit. Save some fuel. We've got like an hour and a half of fuel at the moment. We'll probably need about... I've got bingo set to 4,000. Might bring it on up to 5,000 pounds. That's our fuel that we have to go home at. So we don't have another mission like the last one. Like the night quals. Where's this boat? No idea. Probably under the clouds is where I'm going to say this boat is. So we'll just chuck it in a bit of an orbit. Yep. So 22,000 is a little bit lower than I'd like. I'd rather be up at 40,000, but if we're going slow it's easier down here. And I have a feeling the fuel we'd use to get up there would be about the same as what we'd save, so it really probably wouldn't be worth it, but...
Damn, look at that. They made a real mess of that ship. That sure is a lot of smoke. I hope they're alright. Do you think the collision could have caused such damage? I don't know. I really doubt it.
Yeah, that's no collision.
Yeah. Fucking Ruskies.
It's too suspicious for a collision too. So, hopefully the autopilot will get us nice here. Looks like it. So now we wait. Fuel state 12.5. let's see what's... See what's right about. Doesn't look like there's much of anything. Bit of smoke in the air, I guess. So if we had fueled up the tanker, we'd be at about 15,000, 16,000 pounds of fuel at the moment, which, you know, would have been nice, but it wasn't worth the time spent there because I'm no good at tanking at the moment. So, yeah, welcome to going round in circles for a bit. And I'm going to keep slowing it down. I want to maintain about 220, 230 knots, because that's max loiter time, or max loiter speed. Because if we go too slow, then we get too much drag because the aircraft's got to keep its nose high enough up. And if we go too fast, then we're just wasting speed, wasting energy on being fast.
Pontiac 1, Magic, pop-up group. We have a single bear inbound, full 010 for 70 at Angels 14. Monitor but do not engage. Weapons hold. I say again, weapons hold.
So,
Pontiac 1 copies, nose on bandit, monitoring, weapons hold. 2, contact bearing 001.70.
Pontiac 1-1, Magic 1-1, Bra 001-470 at 14,000 flanking.
so a bear is a Russian bomber, and you know it's a bomber because it's starts with a B. And you know it's a prop plane because it's got 2 syllables. There are surprisingly large. It's surprisingly easy to guess what sort of aircraft it is from the name, even though it's a NATO name and it's a code name. And the bears were one of the threats the Tomcat was designed to deal with, because it's an anti-ship capable bomber, long-range anti-ship bomber. So you'll notice I'm also changing my orbit, so I'm now this side of the aircraft, the stricken ship, between the ship and the bear. Make it easier to respond if and when the bomber decides it wants to attack. Okay, so they wanted us to go in and rendezvous with the bear. That's okay, we can do that. So it should be over this way somewhere. Oh no, that's completely the wrong way. Let's get Magic to tell us where it is.
Magic 1-1, Pontiac 1-1, request bogey dope. Pontiac 1-1, Magic 1-1, Bra 357-450 at 14,000 flanking.
357 for 50. So they're pretty much due north of us. So we'll make this final turn around and we'll go and intercept the bomber. And we are going to use full throttle because we want to.
Contact bearing 352.50.
So we are in air-to-air mode. just switching the radar mode over to a track while scan instead of a range while search. So we've got, oh, Jester's still being told not to talk. You can talk, Jester.
Magic 1-1, Bra 347, 450 at 14,000, flanking.
So we've just got a single target track lock on them, so they know that
I lost lock.
we had an STT on them. We've now still got the TCS looking at them, and it's got a contrast lock. So it can somehow see it. Oh yeah, I can see the bear there. Again, human Rio would be able to zoom that in for us. Jester might eventually. And yeah, you can see this line gives us the vector that the TCS is looking upon, but the TCS can't give us range, and it doesn't give us firing information. There, wherever it's got a lock, we can get a bearing on it. So that two's just calling out this Big Bird search radar, which is the radar for an SA-10. Or one of the radars for an SA-10.
Copy that.
100 miles. So that's just changing the display scale down the bottom here. So I'm not reporting tally because I can't visually see it yet. I sort of can.
Magic Pontiac 1, we are tally on the bear, setting up for intercept. Pontiac 1, roger. Get on his left wing and try to make him turn back. If he gets within 70 miles of mother, establish a hard lock, but do not fire. How copy? Pontiac 1 copies, monitoring.
Oh, so we weren't meant to STT, and that's what a hard lock means. But that's okay. So a hard lock is, well, for the Tomcat, was the first aircraft of its time to not need a hard lock to fire some of its missiles, but it still gets a hard lock for some missiles. Depends on the type of missile. So the Phoenix requires nothing but seeing them on track wall scan, and the Sparrow requires a hard lock and to maintain that lock. The Sidewinder's a bit different because that's an infrared missile, so you can actually fire that with no radar. The easiest way to fire that though, and the way most people normally do it, is in a dogfight, getting a lock on the target and making the Sidewinder head, because in that little bit is a camera, and that the head of the camera is what does its tracking. So making that look at wherever the radar's looking, so you can get a...
Here we go.
Words. So yeah, usually they're fired with a lock, but they don't require the lock. It just helps point it in the right direction, essentially.
There is a Bandit, TU-95, 12 o'clock, 11 miles.
So yeah, TU-95 is another NATO name of this aircraft. Usually just goes by the bear though. Or a bear. And of course these are NATO names, they're not the Russian names for them. Russians have probably very different names. So I'm just trying to be careful. I want to lead the target, so I end up coming up to the target. But I also don't want to get the bear outside of the DCS field of view, because it's quite helpful having a pointer to where they are. Oh, when I say that, it's about to go out of the field of view. So we don't want that cross to go outside the box of the VDI.
Come on, light him up.
I'd love to, Jester, but we've been told not to. Yes, thanks to. I never would have been able to see the bandit without you telling me to. Good job. Oh, you're going to tell me I'm right behind this guy as well. Thanks.
Speed is 480.
Thanks, Jester.
He's right in front of us. Closing.
The AI doesn't like this idea of getting close and not shooting down. And I have to agree with the AI, but we've been told not to. So we're not going to. So I'm going to get a lock just so I can... Oh no. Okay.
Come on, show me some of that pilot shit. Closing.
So we can actually see range to the carrier is here. 80 miles. They'll be maybe 2 or 3 miles ahead of us, so we're not meant to have locked him up yet. And that buffeting we can feel is actually the wake turbulence from the 4 big props, which hit us rather hard there. Let's slow down because we're...
Right smack on her nose. Closing.
Oh yes.
450.
Spacebar to flip him the bird. Well, there we go.
Sit and spin, Ivan.
So we're now going to slow down.
Yeah. You'll see if that's
420.
She's quite a screamer, you know her. Haha, so is your mom, Ivan.
380 knots. She almost has us.
Yeah. You're going to pay for everything. Not at all. She said she was doing it for free. Just wait until we grab you by the balls.
Speed 350.
Take you there for mercy. Well, that's what she said.
So there's...
Speed 320.
Thanks, Jester. Please be quiet. The bomber is not dogfighting with us. Just gonna drop back behind the bomber.
Sure is an ugly
280 knots.
and huge. Look at the size of it.
Yes, the bear is quite a
What?
large
That's
bomber.
what she said. Joke wasn't enough. What's up, little Evelyn, today? You're on fire today, Ghost. Did you guys know that it was a bear that dropped the Tsar bomb back in '61? Oh, you mean that 50-megaton nuclear monster? Yeah, thank God the Cold War never turned hot.
So we're almost within 70
What the
miles,
hell
so
does
we
he
need
want
to...
anyway?
We really need to get back behind him.
Guess he wants to snoop around our battle group. I bet they're taking pictures of us, too. I'll be on a desk in Moscow in 1 or 2 hours.
Maybe not.
I hope they got your finger.
Okay, so now that we're in a better position, this will make the bear quite nervous because we can very easily fire upon him. Like... and he'd be dead. And he knows that. So he's unlikely to try anything anymore. But...
Oh, he's dead now.
No, he's Jester. Oh! Compressor stall. Right. Now start. On.
Hey, Ivan, look at this. Playboy magazine. Pamela Anderson. Have you seen anything like this?
So,
We have 3 dead women in Russia, and they can cook too. And 90 miles from mother. This guy's really curious.
what happened there? We just had
280 now.
an engine.
They'll change their minds.
We had this engine just shut off because we were in the wake of the aircraft. So we'll get air start going and we'll bring the engine back up.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
A little bit closer. Want to snap a picture of you, too.
And we got good start on the engine.
Roger.
That was
Passing
interesting.
310.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Say pussy. There you go.
Interesting that that's the photo when we're fair way behind them.
I smell a kill soon. We're on a 6.
I smell a kill soon. I wish, Jester, I wish. So I'm going to try and stay below his prop wash. Because that's what shut off our engine before, was his prop wash.
Steady at 350. .380.
Well, ah, that's right, we don't have secondary engines. Secondary engine control. The A model is notorious for having bad engines, stally engines. They're faster than the B model high up,
Speed 350.
but because I don't fly
He almost has us. Closing.
the A model very much, I am a lot more used to the B model's engines.
Passing 320.
Hello down there.
There's 350.
Need to slow down to...
Shit, he's on our 6. Do some of that pilot shit. 320. Good.
So Jester's
290.
complaining because he thinks we're in a dogfight, and my speeds aren't quite right.
The bear's now within 70 miles of mother. Establish a hard lock, but do not engage. Weapons hold.
250 knots.
Okay, so we got a
Roger,
ST
weapons
now.
hold. Let's see how you like this, Ivan.
So just need to drop back a little bit.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, thanks, Jester. I can see him.
Magic, Pontiac 1, I've got it blocked.
Coming up on 280.
Copy that, Pontiac 1. Maintain your position, but do not fire.
Aww.
Pontiac 1.
Oh,
You got this. Shoot him. 310.
Jester really wants me to fire. I want to fire. The Russians, for some reason, don't want us to fire. But again, they know that we're literally... That's all it takes. All I had to do there was pull the trigger. Go simulated mode. And that'll be a Fox 2.
Speed 340.
Fox 2 wouldn't do all that much against the bear, but
Yeehaw! He's bugging out and going home. Greetings to your mom, motherfucker.
Oh, that was interesting and unexpected.
Confirmed Bandit is bugging out. You're cleared to RTB. Pontiac 2 is already airborne. Magic Pontiac 1, copy that. We're RTB. Break. 2, see you on the boat. No bolters like 2 days ago. Our boarding rate is already behind VF41.
Come on, man, 12 o'clock.
Okay, so they want us to head back to the boat now.
I'd like to see how they would have handled the pitch of deck in that storm, though.
So we'll bring it on up. Now I'm actually going to tell my flight to go to return to base.
RTB. Flight RTB.
Try on the other radio.
Copy.
So 2 will now break off and go back, which isn't how it would actually work, but it's safer and better with the AIs. And I'm happy with the fuel state, so we should actually be able to...
Magic Pontiac 2, checking in with 2 F-14s is fragged. Pontiac 2, radar contact. Proceed to the patrol area. Climb to Angels 2-4. Monitor frequency for updates.
So,
Pontiac 2, copies all. Pushing away point 1.
so we'll make sure our ILS frequency is set. Switch over to ILS instead of ACLS. Get set up for thingy. So, mission complete, and we didn't even get to fire a weapon. Kind of disappointing, but
Stephen, when did you first meet Bruce?
Well, that goes back a long way. Around 65 or so.
We've got a friendly, Bra, 235, 34 miles, Angel 6.
no need to sound so worried, Jester. They're friendly. So we'll head back to base, and then I'll probably stop streaming for the afternoon. Might be on again this server, who knows. Doesn't look like. So let's go have a look at the boat. Because obviously someone just landed. Tanker. Yep. .36 miles from the carrier. We'll start diving at about 20 miles. In fact, we'll go burner and start diving at about 20 miles. So, where's 2 at? That'll be 2. Flying along that 14.8. Tanker getting pushed back through a person. Interesting. Interesting. So, I think that's a pretty fun mission. Much better than the night carrier quals, I'd give you that. Let's go burner. Drop bingo down to 3,000. If we get to 3,000, then we'll start conserving fuel. Actually, I'll keep it at 4,000. Now the fuel gauge, so that's the fuel gauge. The fuel consumption gauge doesn't include burner fuel, so just something that we've got to be careful of. Let's nose over in the most uncomfortable way you can possibly make your aircraft go down. So there's Mach 1.15. 1.2. You can see the mark as to where this needle is. Uh, 1.3. And bear in mind, we're still quite heavily loaded. 1.4. 1.5. 1.55. That's 800 knots. Nine miles from the boat. So in Tomcat, in Top Gun, they did a flyby at 400 knots. I think this will be about a 900 knot flyby.
Joker!
Thanks, Jester. Boom. Power of the Tomcat. So, we'll get our hook down. We're already back at idle power. Get landing HUD up. Apparently we're a little low. That's right, we need to slow down a lot before we can deploy anything anyway. So, come round. Do a nice little straight in approach because we can. What's the range? 7 miles. Start dirtying up. In fact, I might even do this. So we've got the autopilot turned on. It's just not... It's not going to fly us just yet, because we have to get into a position where it's happy to fly us, essentially. So we have to get reasonably close, and more importantly, we have to get on these lines, to be on the glide slope and localizer. Of course we can't see the HUD because of the sun. Let's see if I bump up the brightness, it's a little better. So yeah, this is not how you're supposed to do this, but it is how I'm going to do this, and the AI will just deal with it. So approaching glide slope and localizer crossing us. Yeah, you wouldn't normally do this sort of approach in a nice fine day, but because I can, and I want to make sure I remember how to do this sort of approach, I'm going to. Oh. Data link set host.
Okay.
That might be
Wings
why.
are 20 auto, gears down, SAF on, flaps full, DLC engaged and checked, hook down, harness locked, speed brakes out, spoiler brakes off, fuel checked.
That'll be why it wasn't working, because you need to be not on ILS mode, but on ACLS mode. Oh, way low. Okay, so we would have got a wave off by now, but okay, there we go. Oh no. So it's engaging and then disengaging. I'm going to claim that is broken, because we know the Tomcat autopilot is broken. Terrible landing, but the important part is it's a landing.
Looks like an okay fair one wire.
So, pretty much the worst it can be. Oh. So, we're gonna get off the runway, landing way, and we're going to quit that. So that's another mission success. So, end mission. First blood, that'll be an interesting one. Let's see what the briefing is. So different guys in two. So they keep changing the TACAN and the ILS, unfortunately. So we take out Mach's M54C, 2 Sparrows, 3 Winders, 2 tanks. Yeah. So that's for next time. So we'll do